Black New World, there will be no economic system like we have today. There'll be no fiat money. We won't be using salt, cowrie shells. We won't be using gold or silver or credit cards or none of that. You know what I mean? Lost Found Muslim lesson number 1 teaches us that socialist means to advocate a society of men or women for one common cause. When we mature in our divinity and come into the realization that we are actually a nation of gods and goddesses, and that type of system will use our ancestors' ancient principles that in this day and time we refer to it as Ma'at, balance, peace, truth, love, freedom, justice, equality, mathematics, nature, common sense. You know what I mean? Meaning that, there will be no people in need. There'll be no need for medications, you know what I mean? Because we will be in harmony with nature. You know what I mean? The foods will be a totally different type of food. You know what I mean? We won't be infringing on habitat. So the very animals on the planet Earth, they will take and revert back to their natural state, where we look at it like it's the nature of this animal to kill and hunt and things of that nature there. Those are survival mechanisms that came about through struggle. I mean, crabs needed claws, snakes need fangs. I mean, lions needed claws to rip their food up. A hawk needed a mechanism so that it could survive. So it is with the human family. We had to argue and fight and steal and produce all types of negative institutions so that we can maintain law and order, because we were out of order. We lost our way, we lost our balance. But once we come back to that state of Sakine is the natural peace, tranquility, that inner peace within. Under that type of system, things like the necessities of life, freedom, justice, and equality, food, clothing, and shelter, those things would be a given. You wouldn't be struggling and wondering what you're going to eat tomorrow, or where you're going to lay your head, or what clothes, how you're going to afford to do something in society. And from us getting rid of borders and getting rid of all these organized religions, and believing in ourselves and working as one, using that one common cause, we're going to master the entire universe, covering 230 continuous 640 quadrillion miles. Now, of course, it's going to take time. It's going to take generations. It's going to take struggles. We're going to have a learning curve. We're going to, that's the nature of things. Right now we're in a state where we have protons and electrons. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that in the hereafter, after the destruction of the devil's wicked world, it's going to be an entirely different universe. Like, electricity is not going to hurt your eyes. The sun won't hurt your eyes. He said the universe at nighttime will not be dark. It'll have a glow. It'll have a light that is so balanced that we as a people will literally, physically, biologically be able to live forever. We would only die if we will ourselves to die. Meaning that the very DNA of your body will be able to vibrate and heal itself from within. These things today sound like miracles. It sounds like impossibilities, but they're not miracles, they're mathematical wonders. The law teaches us that, brother, we don't believe in the impossible. How could this or that be impossible when we're in a universe that exists? And once upon a time, this universe didn't exist. The black man sparked all of this. Everything that you see, came from the original man, the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe. In the beginning, there was only the original nation. In the end, there will only be the original nation. The gods are rising, family. 5% poor righteous teachers will easily adapt to a new world without money, living in universal harmony, because the poor, as Jesus put it, is always amongst us. So as a poor righteous teacher, you can adapt because you have already lived without all of the material things that society says you need in order to be happy. But you know that true happiness and true money is life itself, peace of mind and contentment, health, your family, security. Being able to share is more valuable than the largest wedge of gold. The struggle continues for now. Let's reflect on the barter system. The barter system is an exchange of goods and services without a standardized currency. In ancient Africa, like societies like Kemet, Black Egypt, and the Sudan, in Nubia, in ancient Kush, Ethiopia, in Azania, South Africa, people would use a bartering system, like I give you a goat, you give me some chickens or eggs, or services, you help me with the planting of crops in the muddy Nile. I mean, that system was an efficient and effective system, but that was not the original system. The original system of humanity was one of balance, one where we did not trade goods and services, we shared them. I would like to now turn your attention to commodity money. Basically, commodity money is items with intrinsic value used as money, and it could be thousands of things such as salt, wheat, cowrie shells, spices, tea, coffee, slaves, even drugs in the past as well as the present. So this form of money, where you may live in a region, like say if we're living in Philadelphia, somebody's living in Florida, and they traveled and brought us tropical fruits from Florida, say they had some dehydrated banana chips. We don't grow bananas in Philadelphia, but we do grow apples. We may have certain type of fish in the Delaware River. We may have certain types of animals out here that they don't have out there, certain types of furs and things of that nature there. So it would set up a medium of exchange. The law teaches us that the Native American Indians are an original people. They're one with us. We consider them black, and they had a system known as the wampum. And they've been living over here for over 16,000 years, and, contrary to all the spooky stuff, used to have older civilizations of the original man, like the Olmec civilization. But the wampum, they had beads that was made from shells, usually used by these Native American tribes for trading and spiritual purposes and ceremonies. And they had an efficient and balanced system that wasn't perfect because no system is perfect, but they had a system of fairness and integrity with their finances that we lost in this day and time, sad to say. And for clarity, don't confuse my nomenclature or scientific terms or my colloquial language to mean that, I agree with them being called tribes. They were more like nation states, if you will. But I'm just trying to communicate a general idea. All types of metal objects was used for money. It don't necessarily have to be like gold or silver or precious metal. It could be, something made of tin or bronze or brass or aluminum. But basically, different civilizations use metal objects as money. It could be a tool. If you had a sword, that was considered a currency. A knife, a dagger, weapons, ingots, various types of coins, different types of jewelry. Of course, gold and silver were the most known to us in this day and time. But these metal objects was traded and used, but at the same time, some of them was forged and included pieces of lead inside of the gold, for example. So, it's all kind of problems with monetary systems. Like I said, no system was actually or can be perfect. The way the Fed prints fiat money, like monopoly money in America today, is not new nor unique in world history. I mean, in fact, as early as the 10th century, Chinese paper money actually lost its value and became fiat money during the Song Dynasty under the Chinese jiaozi. Now, I mean, the Chinese jiaozi was paper money that originally had value, like America paper money in the 70s used to be backed by gold and silver. I used to be able to go to the store, they'd give me a sterling silver dollar piece that later on was worth like $10, $20, a Kennedy coin, but now it's not backed by gold or silver. And that's what happened to the Chinese currency, the jiaozi, and the civilization lost its trust in its currency. Early America experienced this. And one of the things we have to understand about money systems is they always come and go. People forget that money that we consider money loses its value. Now, I mean, the continental currency during the American Revolutionary War, fiat money, basically, paper money, was like a monopoly type money. How you play the game Monopoly, you could print whatever. I mean, that don't mean it's backed by anything, and it was used to fund the war effort, and it resulted in runaway inflation. People start counterfeiting the money, faking fake prints. It wasn't backed by gold or silver, and it ended up as a simple IOU or promissory note, much like the current money that we're using in 2024. The Bible warns us that the love of money is a root of all evil. Not necessarily the root, but it's definitely a root. Now, I mean, it sparks tyrants and the 10%, the rich, the slave makers of the poor. Now, I mean, it brings about the haves and the have-nots. It sparks envy and jealousy and competition. Now, I mean, and it really hinders humanity from mastering their environments, meaning, not just the land that we live on, but literally us being able to master the entire universe. Because of this fiat money, we're so attracted to it socially and politically and religiously that we're trying to use this in exchange for our humanity, and it's tearing the world apart. The supreme Allah God, who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom all praises are due forever, wanted to make each individual a self-master, a self-believer. He wanted us to see that God or that goddess in the mirror, to know thyself, to do for thyself, to understand that the collective self is one. There is not a bunch of minds. It's only one mind. There's only one humanity. Everyone, whether they're black, brown, yellow, red, albino, or white, came from the original man, the original woman, that black man and that black woman. But we have to get rid of the hatred and the racism and the sexism and the classism, because we've been living under imperialism for the past 6,000 years. The New World socialism is not talking about capitalism and socialism and Marxism and Leninism, the things that we use in this present system. Nothing of this old wicked world is going to end into that righteous world built on peace, truth, freedom, justice, and equality, where the people have access to freedom, justice, and equality, food, clothing, and shelter, love, peace, and happiness. While they live, they will have heaven here on earth, not in the sky. Masfar Muhammad in 1933 explained in Lost Found Muslim Lesson Number 1, Section 8, that socialist means to advocate a society of men or women or groups of men for one common cause. Equality means to be equal in everything. There are no two equal things in our universe mathematically, but we deal equally in all things. You may wonder how this will come about. It starts by giving the people knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. The true knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of themselves, not of a mystery God in the sky, not of aliens, but of the knowledge of themselves. Messenger Elijah Muhammad gave us the flag of Islam as the sun representing freedom, the star representing justice, and the moon representing equality. He teaches us that the moon is equal with earth. Now, the moon doesn't have water like the earth. So when we talk about equality in the Nation of Islam, we're not saying that something is the same. No two atoms are the same. No two ideas are the same. No two snowflakes, no two twins, no DNA strands are the same. That does not mathematically exist in our universe. However, when we talk about equality, we're talking about substantive equality. The messenger teaches us in the 12 Jews of Islam number 6 that equality is to deal equal in all things. Meaning what? For example, if you have a fence and the game is on the other side of that fence, if I'm 6'1", I could just stand there at that 5-foot fence and see the game. But if someone is only 4 feet, they can't see. They need a little step ladder to get up to get equality so they can see what I see. And if someone is a little toddler, they need to be put on baby daddy's shoulder so that they can see the game. We deal equally in all things. Thank you for supporting my ministry. The struggle for freedom, justice, and equality continues. It gets greater later.